Hi, I'm Emery, and this is my story. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. When I was a kid, my parents always fought a lot. Mom got so fed up that she yanked me out of bed one night and snuck me out the door. Mom, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed.
Shh, quiet.
The next thing you know, we'd moved to a tiny apartment in a strange town, and I hated it. I screamed and cried for Mom to take us back home. Take me back! This is whack! I tried reaching out to my dad, but he was always too busy. That made me sad. But Mom found ways to cheer me up. Eventually, I got used to our new place, and hanging out with Mom was pretty cool. After a while, Mom met someone new. Soon they were married, and we moved into a new house. My stepdad was nice, but his daughter was a witch.
Hey Naomi, welcome your new mom and stepsister.
Welcome them! You, Dad, they're poor! Why are we keeping them here and feeding them? They're disgusting and gross!
Haha, she's just kidding. She's a little shy. She's a sweetheart once you get to know her.
Naomi was the worst. She threw ketchup in my face, turned the lights off when I was reading, tossed my clothes out the window, and stole all my toys. I tried to tell my mom what was going on.
Hey babe, we're guests here. Naomi is a bit spoiled, but we have to learn to accept her.
Thank God Naomi and I didn't go to the same school. Naomi went to an expensive school for brats, and I begged my mom and stepdad to let me stay at my old school. But a few years later, things took a turn. My stepdad's company lost a ton of money and he couldn't keep up with the bills.
Girls, money is tight, so we'll have to enroll both of you in public school.
Public school? No!
Naomi threw the biggest tantrum and refused to eat for a week, though I caught her sneaking cookies from the kitchen at night. On the first day of school, Naomi acted like a total spoiled brat.
Hey everyone! You may see this girl talking to me, but that doesn't mean we're related. She's just our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she is our maid.
No, she's our maid.
Naomi and I fought all the time. We shouted at each other in the hallway, had a food fight in the cafeteria, and one time during science class, we started shoving each other and accidentally hurt the teacher who was trying to separate us. She ended up with a broken nose. The kids thought we were insane. Neither of us had any friends. I mean, I couldn't blame them. Naomi was a crazy witch and I'm cool, but shy and weird and insecure and invisible. So yeah, after weeks of being outcasts, we grew a bit closer. Just a bit. Because we were lonely, and we only had each other. Then one day in first grade, our parents sat us down to give us some news.
We're gonna have a baby.
Oh really? That's cool!
A baby? Why would you go and do a stupid thing like that?
The baby came and my parents were so happy.
A beautiful little boy.
Isn't he precious? Let's call him Sam.
I fell in love with Sam immediately, even though he was annoying. He cried a lot and peed all over the place. Naomi avoided Sam like the plague. She'd lock herself in her room and only came out to eat.
Look at his stupid, dirty face. Oh my God. Why is he throwing food everywhere?
I played with Sam every day.
You're so good with him. Honey, could you watch Sam while Dad and I run some errands?
Sure, no problem. As time went on, Mom and Dad started leaving him with me all the time. Eventually, I was Sam's permanent babysitter. When Sam turned 2, he turned into a maniac. He drew on the walls with crayons, smashed an expensive vase, and poured milk in my dad's office drawer. And they blamed me every time.
That vase cost a fortune. I'm taking it out of your allowance.
But it's not my fault.
I told you so.
Told me what?
That the brat was a bad idea. It's only gonna get worse.
And Naomi was right. One day, I had a huge chemistry test and told my parents way in advance that I needed to study. But they still shoved Sam in my face and just left. I'd had enough. I dropped Sam off in Naomi's room and headed out the door.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm done with this family. I'm out of here.
You can't just leave me with this thing.
Watch me. Look, Sammy, she has cookies. Sam grabbed Naomi and I walked out the door.
Ah, no, get away. Leave me alone. Help.
I hopped on the bus and went straight to my dad's. He was out of town when I got there, so his maid let me in. For the first time in a long time, I had peace and quiet. My mom and stepdad freaked out when they found out I'd left, but I refused to come back. In school the next day, Naomi ran up to me looking crazy.
I can't take it. Please come back home.
I thought you hated me?
I do, but Sam's a demon. He tore up all my clothes and flushed my makeup down the toilet.
Sounds like you're getting a taste of your own medicine. I turned to walk away, but then Naomi started bawling like a big baby.
Please, I'll do anything. Just come back home.
Okay, maybe I'll come back, but on one condition. You have to do what I say when I ask.
No way. I'm not your maid.
You won't be my maid, you'll be my assistant.
That's even worse.
Take it or leave it. Naomi reluctantly agreed. But even if she hadn't, I'd have moved back anyway because I missed my little Sam. The thought of him being ignored by my shallow parents and selfish Naomi made me sick to my stomach. I moved back in, and whenever our parents left us with Sam, I'd set up a schedule, so Naomi and I shared the responsibilities. Things were great for a while, but they took a turn. When Sam turned 10, he stole my mom's diamond ring and gave it to his classmate to impress her.
A pretty ring for a pretty girl?
Are you crazy? I can't take this.
Sam got so mad he punched the girl in the face. Then he sold mom's ring to his friend.
I'll give it to you for $50.
40!
Deal!
One day, Sam's teacher called my parents in for a meeting. Of course, they were too busy to go and sent me and Naomi instead.
We came because our parents have leukemia. Oh my god.
No, she means anemia.
No, I think I meant amnesia. They're getting old and crazy.
They're just sick, and we came instead of them. Can you tell us what the problem is?
Sam gave one of his classmates a black eye. He broke a window, and he's been terrorizing the other students.
When we got home, I went straight to Sam's room. We need to talk about what's going on with you in school.
I'm busy!
If you keep this up, you might get expelled.
Get out!
Sam slammed the door in my face. He was very stubborn, but I wanted to help him. When my mom and stepdad came back that night, Naomi and I told them everything.
It's those mean kids, they hate me. And they're always making fun of me because I don't have nice things.
Oh, darling, we're so sorry.
We'll buy you new clothes.
Then Mom took Sam on a shopping spree. I couldn't believe they fell for his act. Later that night, my parents went out of town for a business dinner, and Naomi and I were watching Avatar World videos in my room when Sam appeared out of nowhere.
Hey, stupid witches, you're gonna pay for telling on me.
Get out of the way, psycho. We're trying to watch TV.
Sam pulled out a huge jar of crickets from behind his back and smashed it onto the floor. The crickets landed in our hair and all over our clothes.
Ha ha ha! Get them, my pretties!
A couple of months later, Mom and Stepdad called us into the living room to tell us we were moving into a brand new fancy house.
So wait, we're rich again?
Yes, we have twice as much money as we had before.
Thank God. I hated being poor.
Now I can go to a fancy college.
Only the best for my daughter.
A month later, Naomi left for college in another city. I could have gone away too, but I was too worried about Sam. So I got enrolled in a college close to home. But soon after, my stepdad enrolled Sam in an expensive private school, and he started hanging out with these spoiled rich kids. I had to make sure that he didn't get into some big trouble. In my sophomore year, I was reading in the park one day when suddenly I spotted a big dog running at crazy speed with a guy my age trying to grab his leash. His name was Alex, and he was a senior in my university. I gave him my hoodie, and we ended up talking for a while. I hadn't even realized 2 hours had gone by. Oh shoot, I gotta go. I gotta check in on my little brother.
So how? How do I get your hoodie back to you? Maybe I could take you out for dinner tomorrow?
Oh, I'm sorry, but with the university and some things at home, I really don't have time to date.
Gotcha. Well, here's my number. Just let me know where I can drop it then.
He started walking away, and so did I. But a part of me felt like I was doing the wrong thing. Hey, wait! How about a coffee tomorrow?
Sounds like a good place to start.
Alex and I started dating, and being with him just made me happy. For the first time, it felt like someone was noticing what I needed and was taking care of me. But things at home with Sam just kept getting worse. He was skipping classes and getting detention all the time. And then some creepy guys started coming around the house looking for Sam when my parents weren't home. When I asked him who they were, he just told me to mind my business. Then one night, Sam came home with a bruised face. Are you okay? What's going on?
I'm fine, sis. I can take care of myself.
Sam, I can't be your babysitter forever. I have a life of my own, and one day I'll just leave.
Then leave. My life, my choices. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Then he just hugged me and cried. The next morning I tried to talk to him, but he was already gone. I'm worried about Sam. I think something's going on with him.
You worry too much, honey. Sam's fine.
Have you seen his face?
He said he got hurt during football practice.
Ugh, soon after I graduated, Alex proposed. And I was over the moon! I'd have to move out, but I would only be 10 minutes away from Sam. Not that he seemed to care much either way. And on my wedding day, Sam was nowhere to be found. I kept calling him, but I couldn't get through, and we couldn't postpone the ceremony any longer. I felt so upset that he had missed this. But 2 hours later, I finally got a panicked call from Sam asking me to pick him up from some bad neighborhood. You're not a baby anymore. You just ruined one of the most important days of my life. I've always been there for you, and you couldn't even be there for me, even today. I started to give up hope of fixing him. I was fighting a battle alone, a battle that wasn't mine, and my parents just made things worse. Sam failed high school, but my stepdad paid the school board to give him passing grades. It made me so mad, but I had no say in the matter. Then one day, the company I worked for gave me an amazing job promotion if I moved to California. It was a great opportunity, but I felt unsure. Alex supported me either way, but I tossed and turned all night, thinking about what to do, and finally called Naomi.
You've got one life, Emery. You can either live it for Sam or live it for yourself.
Sam had started interning at his dad's firm, but I observed him for some weeks and saw that he still had the same kind of friends and was still blowing money and partying the same way. And I finally made my decision.
What? You're going to California? That's across the country. I need you here, Emery.
No, not really. You only need me around to clean up your messes. But I'm done doing that. Sam, you were right. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Emery, please. You're all I have.
You've got mom and dad, and they'll take care of you in their own way. You're their kid. I just can't be your parent anymore.
But you're my big sister.
And I'll always be there for you as that. So when you decide to fix your ways, come and see me, okay? I love you, Sam, but I'm leaving. It's time.
Hi, I'm Pinky from Michigan. Before I continue with my story, please like and subscribe. My brain works a little differently than most people's. When I was in preschool, I thought it was a good kind of different. I was already teaching myself to read and do math. I also had a perfect memory. I could point and remind my parents where certain stores and markets were. I even helped them remember long Wi-Fi passwords. But once I got to first grade, I noticed something was off about me. Every time I talked to someone, they acted like I said something weird. One time, Mom invited a friend of hers over, and I started asking her questions. I was curious about, how'd you get that bald spot? Have you ever gotten pregnant? Do you ever pee in the middle of the night? Mom's friend was super offended by what I was saying and left dinner early. Mom was super embarrassed, and Dad tried to tell me that my questions were rude and too personal.
Next time you meet someone for the first time, ask questions like, where are you from? What's your job?
Dad gave me a bunch of example questions I could ask. But soon, I learned I didn't know how to act around people at all. And whenever I tried to make friends, I just ended up annoying them, whether I talked too much or stood too close to them. By the time I was in 10th grade, I got used to not having friends.
Pinky's like a robot.
What planet did that weirdo come from?
So instead, I studied super hard and became #1 in my class. I won tons of science fairs and awards for school projects. My whole life was books and homework. Then one day, something happened, totally out of the blue. Skylar, the most popular guy at school, asked me out.
It's so fun being in biology class with you. You're funny and interesting and hands down the smartest person I know.
I had no idea how to answer, but from that day on, Skylar treated me like a queen. He bought me jewelry and roses and always wanted to be my lab partner. 2 weeks later, we started dating, and everyone was super confused by it.
What's a guy like Skylar doing with a loser like Pinky?
She's gonna ruin him socially.
We were the talk of the school. Every day I asked Skylar why he chose me out of all the girls he could have dated. And he always told me the same thing.
You're different, Pinky. I like that about you. Why don't you believe me?
I tried to take Skylar for his word, so on his birthday, I planned a huge surprise for him. I Googled how to write a love poem. I spent hours thinking of the most romantic things I could tell Skylar. Finally, the day arrived. I brought speakers to school and stood up on a cafeteria table. Today is my amazing boyfriend's birthday. Skylar, babe, I've written you a poem as a token of my love. Your eyes are like starlight. Your skin's pale as moonlight. My sweet Skylar. I went on and bowed. When I finished, that's when everyone burst out laughing. I looked to Skylar, but he was heading out of the cafeteria. I ran to catch up with him. Babe, why did you leave? Don't you love the poem?
I don't get it. Why did you read it to the whole school? That was the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Why? 'Cause you're embarrassed of our love? Embarrassed of me?
That's not what I said. God, why are you so stupid, Pinky? Everyone was right about you.
Skylar walked off angrily, and tears filled my eyes. Why didn't I just put the poem in his locker or something? Or read it to him on a date? I was so sick of being a chronic moron. I came home early that day from school. My parents were working in the living room. Then suddenly, the house started shaking. We were having an earthquake. Within a few hours, half of our house was destroyed. And the next day, the earthquake was all over the news. Then, all of a sudden, my picture popped up on the TV screen with my first and last name. And next to it was written, "Reported missing after earthquake."
Young teenager last seen yesterday evening after the earthquake.
Mom, Dad, what are they talking about?
I don't know.
What kind of mistake is this? The reporters must be talking about another girl and used Pinky's picture.
My parents rushed to the computer in their bedroom to Google my apparent missing report. But when I checked social media on my phone, I saw I had thousands of notifications. Kids from school had posted everywhere online how worried they were about me and how amazing I was. Best of all, Skylar had posted about me, saying he prayed they'd find me. I'd gone from being totally alone to the most loved person overnight. Before I knew what I was doing, I walked to my parents' room. We can't tell anyone this story is fake. Look what everyone's saying about me. They love me. For once, I have to hide in this house and pretend to be missing.
Pinky, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It's not crazy. My life is hell. I deserve to have people appreciate me for once. Pretending to go missing is the only way I can have that. My parents argued with me for hours. Then suddenly, we heard a bunch of neighbors outside our door. I ran to hide in the closet while my parents answered the door. The neighbors showered them with sympathy.
You two are going through so much with Pinky missing and your home almost ruined. Let us help you out. We'll give donations to repair the damage to your home.
To my shock, I overheard the neighbors offer thousands of dollars in donations. It sounded like enough to pay for the damage. I guess that's why I overheard my parents agree, and why later they told me they were in on my plan. I hid in the basement all day while reporters and journalists came to our house. I was glued to my phone as more posts about me flooded my newsfeed. Half of them were from Skylar.
Man, I hope Pinky's okay. I hope we don't lose her.
He was mourning me. I found an old mask in my closet. I dressed all in black and took the bus to school. Skylar was probably crying about me. I had to see it for myself. I walked around the courtyard to see Skylar sitting on the bleachers with his friends. I hid under the steps.
Poor Pinky's still missing. Maybe she's writing me another love poem.
My sweet Skylar, your eyes are like starlight.
I told you guys I could get that weirdo to date me for 2 months. Now pay up. $200 each.
I watched in horror as all of Skylar's friends gave him $200. My head was spinning, and I had to keep from crying. I ran from the bleachers and wandered the street for hours. Of course, Skylar had never liked me. Instead, he dated me as a joke for money. I decided then I wasn't going to let Skylar get away with it. The next morning, I started to walk out the door with my mask on. I was going to find Skylar and let him have it.
Pinky, why are you carrying your school backpack? You're not leaving the house, are you?
I'm wearing a mask. No one will know it's me.
That's ridiculous. You could get this whole family in trouble. This going missing scheme was your idea.
I'm still allowed to leave the house. I'm not going to stay cooped up in my room forever. I'm going to school today whether you like it or not.
Pinky, wait. If you're going in disguise, let's at least make it believable. I'll help give you a little makeover.
But in the end, we didn't just do a makeover. I decided to completely transform myself. I got a whole new wardrobe, fake eyebrows, eyelashes, and a black wig. But I covered all of it up with a mask and hoodie. When I got to school, a couple of kids approached me, wondering who I was.
Are you new here?
Why are you wearing a mask?
Because I like wearing masks. I'm like a mugger. Come at me, bro! The kids walked away quickly, and I was glad. All I could think about was Skylar. I followed him around the whole day, hiding under stairs and even sneaking into the boys' bathroom. But Skylar just seemed like his normal, popular self. Just a hot guy who'd rejected a dork like me. Maybe I was the problem, not Skylar. Then suddenly, I saw Skylar in the alleyway, smoking with a bunch of guys. They were all wearing the same bandanas and counting money from a giant backpack.
I paid you $50 to date that email girl. You should have paid me $1,000 to date that freak.
It hit me. Skylar was in a gang. I wasn't the only girl he'd bet on for money. Their backpack was full of loose bills and even some gold jewelry they were stealing too. I ran away before anyone could see me. When I got to the cafeteria, all the girls stared at me and started whispering.
That girl's probably wearing a mask and hoodie because she's hideous.
I'd wear a mask too if I had an ugly face.
I felt my skin boil. I'd been the school freak my whole life. I wasn't gonna let it happen again. With that, I unzipped my hoodie to reveal my black dress and black wig. I took off my mask and tossed it to the ground. I could feel all the kids in the cafeteria turn their heads in my direction. And finally, at the corner lunch table, I saw Skylar. He waved me over.
Hey there. You new here? Because I think I would have remembered seeing someone as pretty as you.
Yeah, I'm new. Call me Z. That's my name. I decided to hang out with Skylar the whole day. I wanted to know everything he'd been up to. All of a sudden, Skylar turned red, and he was dead silent. Had I said something? Had I blown my cover?
Z, I gotta tell you something. I'm a mess. I've reached rock bottom. Especially after I lost my girlfriend. She's missing. I don't think they'll ever find her. Only a girl like you will help me get better. Can you be my girlfriend?
Sure, I'll be your girlfriend. Skylar and I spent the entire week together. He could have won the Academy Award for leading a double life. He took me on romantic beach walks and to crazy, expensive restaurants. Skylar was sweeter than he ever was when we dated. Then, one day I got really sick and couldn't leave my bed for days. I barely checked my phone and didn't talk to Skylar at all. When I was well enough, I checked online and saw no one had posted about me going missing the past few days. And when I went back to school, I didn't hear my name. Once, I was waiting in line at lunch next to a couple of girls. I decided to bring the new story up. So people still remember that missing girl. Pinky, right?
What missing girl?
That missing girl, Pinky from the news. She's probably missing for good. What reminded you of her anyway?
For once in my life, I couldn't speak. Everyone had forgotten about me just like that. People loved me and celebrated me for a bit. And then it was over. I couldn't think straight. I searched the school to go find Skylar, and when I did, he was kissing another girl. That's when I totally lost it. I sprang onto Skylar and tackled him to the ground. You're a cheat. You're a fraud. You're a liar. Skylar tried to fight me off, and crowds of kids gathered around us.
Get off me, you psycho!
You're not going anywhere until you tell the truth. Until you tell everyone here that you're in a gang and you break girls' hearts for money. I pinned Skylar to the ground, and he started to cry.
Okay, fine. I'm in a gang where people pay us to date girls as a joke or for revenge. We've also stolen money and expensive jewelry.
Everyone gasped and started whispering. Some girls Skylar had dated began to cry. You want to know something else, genius? If you'd actually cared about me, you would have been able to recognize that I'm not Z. I'm Pinky, your old girlfriend that you dated for a bet. With that, I took off my wig.
Pinky, what? What is happening right now?
I was never missing, okay? I hid in my bedroom and lied about it for attention. I wanted to feel loved and appreciated for once in my life. But it doesn't matter, because everyone forgot about Pinky, the missing girl. Kids had gathered all around the courtyard and had heard everything. Some of them were laughing, others were whispering. But wherever I went, I could feel stares. My secret was out and posted everywhere online. I was getting attention again, except bad attention this time. Everyone thought I was a heartless witch, and they were right. How could I do something so selfish? All of a sudden, I saw my parents walking towards me. Someone had called them. Kids started pointing at me. You know what? I get it. I messed up. I'm sorry, okay? I wish I didn't care so much about what everyone thought of me, but I want to be better. And the truth is, I like who I am. Even with all my weirdness and my problems, I need to remind myself of that. But both my parents hugged me.
You did the right thing by admitting your mistake, sweetie. And we're sorry we agreed to let you do this. We should have been the responsible ones.
We promise we'll always be there for you. And we want you to know we're proud of you. We love you, Pinky.
Thanks, guys. I needed to hear that. I love you too.
Hello, I'm Isa from Austria. Before I share my story with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. I grew up in a large mansion with my parents, grandmother, aunt, and many servants. We were wealthy, and my life was almost perfect, especially because I had the most amazing mother ever, who spoiled me endlessly. Like when I was 6 years old and didn't want to do homework at school. It was against the rules, but somehow my mom convinced the teacher to allow it. And when I was 8, I wanted a big swimming pool indoors, so my mom built a pool in the backyard big enough to fit a whole family. I loved having my mom around. She was such a kind and sweet person, but she was a little strange. You see, my mom was fascinated by all things mystical and believed she could communicate with ghosts. No one in our family thought it was a big deal until one day, when I was 10, my mom and dad had a fight, and my dad walked out.
Who needs humans when you have a million ghosts to keep you company?
You're insane! Go hug your invisible friends! I'm out of here!
After my dad left, my mom became unhinged. She became obsessed with her hobby and spent hours locked in her room, talking to herself. But one night, she lit too many candles and caused a fire that burned down half of the mansion. My grandmother was furious and demanded that my mom leave. So, my mom and I moved to a smaller place. And although we had enough to live comfortably, it was nothing compared to the life we had before. That really affected me.
Look, I bought you a new doll.
This is a rag doll, Mom, and it's so scary. Take that away from me.
But sweetie, I made this for you.
Well, you wouldn't have to waste your time if you didn't burn down my old toys.
My mom looked at me sadly before leaving, and I felt bad. But I was still a child, and I really missed my old life. I thought that eventually my mom would give up her obsession and we would move to the US to live with my grandfather. But she only became stranger. One day, an odd old woman appeared at our doorstep, looking like a witch, and offered to read our fortune.
Wow, the universe must have sent you. Please come in.
Mom and the old woman sat down and started muttering something. Halfway through, she began communicating with the spirits. The table started shaking, and my mom looked astonished.
What do the spirits want?
Oh, they're upset. So, very upset. You burnt their old house down and now they're homeless.
They are invisible, right? They can stay in the White House and no one will know.
Child, you make fun of spirits. How dare you?
The strange woman stood up and started dancing wildly, and my mom joined in. It all looked ridiculous. I couldn't stand witnessing this crazy superstition, so I left. The next day, my grandmother came for an unexpected visit. My mom told her everything that had happened.
Now I just need to find a way to please the spirits. And
I can't believe you're still looking into these things. I wanted to give you another chance, but you haven't changed a bit.
My grandmother was furious and then left, and my mom cried all night.
Why can't you just let these spirits go? Mom, I really want to move in with Nana and Papa. I miss them.
No way. You saw what happened with the medium. I'm not putting them in danger again.
So you'd rather make us live like street rats? Come on, Mom. This is not real. That weird lady medium, whatever. She was tricking you.
I'm not discussing this, Isa.
I worked hard, researching documents and books and asking my teachers. I needed to pull my mom out of this mystical world and prove to her that there are no ghosts or demons.
While she spent time and money on psychics, seminars, and meditation retreats, I did research to debunk her beliefs. There is no scientific basis for crystal healing. The Bermuda Triangle has finally been explained. Most ghost activities can be traced back to change in temperature, electromagnetic interference, or... Mom, are you listening?
Oh no, it's the unholy hour. I can't talk now. Bye.
My words didn't get through to my mom at all. Things got worse when one day I invited a few friends over for a sleepover. Everything was going well until late at night when my mom walked into my room with candles and crystals.
It's a full moon tonight. Tell me, girls, when was the last time you got a cleanse?
She made my friends and me sit in a circle while she burned incense around us. I was so embarrassed. Of course, no one wanted to come to my house after that terrifying incident. And while I couldn't invite my friends over, psychics kept showing up at her door. Some of them even became my mom's friends and stayed with us for days. I had given up hope until one day, on my way home, I heard some kids talking about a challenge at a local haunted house. And that gave me the perfect idea. If I could expose this local ghost story, maybe my mom would finally believe me. I asked the kids if I could join them, and they agreed. That night, while my mom was sleeping, I sneaked into the haunted house with the rest of the group. But 5 minutes into exploring, I heard a blood-curdling scream from an upstairs room. I followed it, only to find one of the boys in a panic.
There's something here. It knocked that vase. It's a ghost.
That's not a ghost. It's a mouse.
I picked up the mouse, and its squeaking made the boy panic even more. He let out an even louder scream and ran downstairs. The rest of the group saw him and started running around like headless chickens. One by one, they all ran outside until I was the only one left. So I sat on a dusty old couch and took a nap. The next day, rumors spread around the school that I had stayed in the haunted house all night. I became famous overnight. Soon, others wanted to join me on my ghostly adventures, so we formed a club. By the time I was 15, my paranormal investigation club had become extremely popular. I had a lot of fun with it, solving all sorts of things, including a few alien and Yeti sightings. Life was pretty good, except my mom was still a hopeless case. One day, while my mom and I were out for a meal, we walked into our usual store. I was talking to the clerk when a girl about my age walked up to me.
Bonjour. Can I show you something? Those stress lines do not look good on a pretty face like yours. How about some incense for meditation? An amethyst pendant to relieve stress.
No, thanks.
Oh, Issa, that's a cute pendant.
No, Mom, it's not. It's hideous. Let's go home, Mom.
I rushed out of the store without waiting another second. Unexpectedly, the next day at school, I ran into the girl from the store again. She was surrounded by a group of girls and was selling them some strange little bottles.
What's that?
Oh, hello, sweet Issa. You smell divine. Imed, by the way.
And Isa for you. What did you give them?
Love potions. To tingle the romantic bones that are clearly missing from your body.
Shut up. You're scamming innocent girls. They'll have to report you to the principal.
No, why don't you see for yourself first? If they don't work, you know where to find me.
After speaking, Ed winked at me and walked away. What a weirdo. Anyway, I agreed to wait a few days to see if that stupid potion would work. And, to my surprise, all the girls who used it ended up with a date with their crush. I couldn't believe it. I had to talk to Ed and saw her in the cafeteria.
I was waiting for you, pretty Issa. Some salad.
No, thanks. I don't want that. Tell me about the love potions.
It's a trade secret, obviously.
Or maybe that potion gave them a bit of confidence, and everything else was pure luck.
You can't prove that, can you?
I was furious. Looking back, all those girls were quite beautiful, but just a bit shy. Of course it worked. A few days passed and I decided to stay away from Ed. Soon enough, it was time to go to college. One night, I was packing my things to leave for school when my mom walked into my room with the amethyst pendant from the other day.
What's this for?
It's pretty. It reminds me of your eyes.
This was kind of exciting. Expensive. Mom, are you sure you can afford this?
Of course I can. And while we're talking about money, I have something to talk about.
That's when Mom told me that she actually had nothing saved for my college and suggested that I should ask my grandmother for my college fund.
There's no way they'll listen to me, but I'm sure they'll help you.
So, all these years you didn't consider that I had to go to college? How could you be so selfish?
I gave you everything you need. And I know your grandma won't hesitate to give you more money, but do you think I have any chance of getting more funds for my research?
I can't believe you're still thinking about that. Mom, you're seriously crazy. I wish I could have just left with Dad.
Don't use that tone with me, Issa.
Actually, I'd rather not use any tone with you.
Shut up, and don't forget I'm your mom.
You're the one who forgot.
I rushed out of the house feeling upset and wandered around the neighborhood. I felt like someone was watching me. I turned around and saw Ed right behind me.
What are you doing?
Trying to make sure the girl I like is safe. What are you doing, roaming around the streets at this hour?
I was just... Wait, did you say that you like me?
Well, obviously the love potion doesn't work on you, and neither do my hints, so I'll say it directly. Yes, Isa, I like you. Now tell me what's wrong. You look stressed.
I finally told her everything about my life, including my recent conversation with my mom. Surprisingly, she turned out to be a good listener.
That's tough.
I don't understand why Mom is so focused on the supernatural instead of trying to mend things with her family. It could really make our life easier, you know?
Maybe, but in her head, it's all real. I'm sure she has her reasons. She actually told my mom a while back how she heard knocking and scratching in the walls. Threatening messages appeared overnight, and she saw a white figure in her room once. This happened for years.
Oh, please. It was probably just her imagination.
Whatever it was, she's your mom, and you're the only person she can fall back on.
Maybe Ed was right, but I couldn't forgive my mom that easily. Being an irresponsible mother is a terrible thing. The next morning, I took a bus back to the mansion. Everything had completely changed. As I walked toward the entrance, I was overwhelmed with memories of my childhood. Then suddenly, I saw Aunt Mallory, my mom's younger sister. She saw me, ran over, and hugged me. "You've grown so much, my pretty Isa."
So have you. I mean, you look amazing, Auntie. How have you been?
"I'm good. But why are you wearing these weird clothes? Come in, let me set you up with a beautiful dress." Aunt Mallory led me inside, and I told her about my mom's spending problems and how my college education might be disrupted. "That's terrible." I knew my sister was weird, but I would have never thought she was this irresponsible. "Don't worry, child. She'll take care of everything." I was overjoyed and immediately started planning for school. Ed helped me a lot with figuring things out. The more time I spent with her, the more I liked her. It was a bit strange, but at least she was there for me, unlike my mom, who still refused to return to the mansion.
I'm happy you're having a good time there, but I don't think I'm welcome there.
You won't know if you don't give it a shot. Isn't family more important than your dumb psychic research? Why can't you just listen to me for once?
You have no idea what it means to be treated like a crazy person by everyone, including your own parents.
Stop playing the Vita, Mom. You did this to yourself.
I saw my mom cry. She was hurt. But I was so tired of her behavior. I was so happy to be back at the mansion, waking up to breakfast in bed, strolling through the lush garden, and feeling like a princess once again. My college was nearby, and I even had a private driver to take me there. Life was finally perfect, but I still missed my mom a lot, and she didn't want to see me. One day, I accidentally saw the amethyst pendant that my mom had bought for me. Suddenly, I felt my eyes sting with tears. I decided to ask Ed for help.
Why don't you do what you're best known for? Solving paranormal stuff. You solved all the cases around here except that of your mother.
But that was years ago. How am I supposed to investigate that now?
You live in the mansion. Try looking around old artifacts, cold spots. Maybe something will turn up to prove that she was right, and her family will finally see that she wasn't crazy.
Even I'm not fully convinced with that, Ed. How will I convince others?
Have faith, Pradisa.
Ed took me back home, and I got to work. That night, I waited for everyone to go to sleep and then quietly snuck out of my room. I spent hours searching the library and wandering around the hallways, but nothing seemed suspicious. As I was heading back to my room, I tripped over a rock and a hidden underground door opened.
Oh, what the freaking frogs? A hidden passage!
I turned on my flashlight and walked down the dark hallway that led straight to my mom's old room. And suddenly, everything started to make sense. This door opened from the other side of the hallway. So, someone could have been sneaking into my mom's room every night and making those strange noises, even disguising themselves as a ghost to scare her. But who would do that? I was still lost in thought when a flashlight suddenly blinded me, and what I saw left me stunned.
Auntie?
Isa, what are you doing here?
Oh my god, it was you, right? You knew about this secret passage. Were you the ghost that haunted my mother?
My aunt was grinning maliciously.
What can I say? Your mom was always too stupid to figure it out. You probably took after your father.
But why, Auntie? What did Mom ever do to you?
She took everything from me. She was always the favorite child because she was younger and prettier. I did everything to get our parents' attention, but they didn't have time for me. I could still let go of that. But then she married the guy I liked, and I knew I couldn't take it anymore and worked out a plan. All I had to do was to show everyone how crazy she was. And she was stupid.
She actually fell for it. You were in love with Dad. Please tell me you didn't have anything to do with their divorce.
I may have given him evidence of your mom cheating. And while she was busy moping around, I amped up the hauntings. But the fire and everything were all her.
You hated Mom, but you helped me. Why would you do that?
To take away the last thing she had, of course.
Wow, you're evil. Wait till I tell Grandma.
You can try, but you won't if you want the funds for your college to keep coming.
Oh, don't you worry. I've learned a trick or two of my own. After all, we are related by blood.
I recorded the conversation, and my aunt was stunned when she realized it. She tried to grab my phone, but I quickly ran out of the house. The next day, I asked my mom to come over and showed her and my dad the video. They were shocked and decided to kick my aunt out right then and there.
I'm so sorry, Mom, for never believing you.
I didn't give you a reason to trust me either, sweetie. So I guess it's a new start for us both.
My grandparents apologized to Mom. They asked Mom to move back in, but she just looked at me with sad eyes.
I wish you could have trusted me instead of thinking I was crazy. It will take a while to forgive you guys, but Issa, I leave it up to you.
It's okay, Mom. Let's go home.
She felt guilty and continued to support my college education. My mom and I still live in our small house, and we are closer than ever.
Hi, my name is Luna, aka the Vampire Girl, and it's all because I had the meanest parents. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I grew up in a normal family in a small town in the Netherlands. But as I got older, I realized that my parents were not just normal. They were actually weirdos. I had never seen them leave the house, like going out for work or buying supplies. What was most annoying was that they often whispered to each other about something extremely mysterious. You might wonder how we could survive. Well, a box of supplies would mysteriously arrive every week, and I had never seen the delivery man. Every day, Dad would spend hours reading the newspaper and circling stuff on it with a red marker. Once, when I was 3, I was trying to warn my dad that there was a spider about to crawl over his breakfast, but he kept ignoring me, so I leapt onto the table and put my foot in his bowl, spilling it all over his newspaper, and Dad went bonkers.
Oh my god, do you realize what you've done?
Spider, spider!
You're just Spider, idiot! Just leave me alone!
Mom, hug! Hug! You, stay away from me! Didn't I buy you a bunch of stuffed animals? Go back to your room and hug them.
Gosh, I wished I could just leave them forever. They didn't even love me. We never had any visitors, but my grandma. But when I was 5, Grandma came to see us once and she brought me an adorable cat. I was so happy. A rare creature is about to live in my house. But of course my parents are just being themselves.
We already have Luna. It's hard enough to take care of her. No, just take it back, please, Mom.
No freaking way! I ran up to my room with the cat and slammed the door shut. But when I woke up in the morning, my cat had flown away, even though it didn't have wings. I looked all over the house. Nothing. I just knew my parents had gotten rid of it. I screamed and cried, but they said they didn't know anything. Liars! I made a bold decision to run outside and search for my kitten. This was the first time I was breaking my family's rules. But that didn't matter anymore, because I had decided I was never going back to this house. It was a really sunny day, and as I kept running, my skin suddenly started turning really red and itchy. Oh, my body's getting scorched by the sun! I let out one huge scream and fainted. When I woke up, I was lying on my bed. In the room were the doctor and my parents. The doctor said I had a rare condition and advised my parents to absolutely prevent me from any exposure to sunlight.
See? That's what happens when you don't take our advice.
No, that's not true. That can't be right. My parents might be weird, but doctors aren't. Besides, the sun almost killed me, and I never want to go through that horrible feeling again. So after that, I refused to let a single ray of sunlight touch my body, not even indoors. I covered myself from tip to toe, socks, trek pants, hoodie, and a face mask. Only my eyes were visible. The weirdest people like my parents almost fainted when they first saw me running around the house like a little ninja. From nightfall is when I felt safe to remove my costume. I never go outside during the day because I think the outfit isn't thick enough. I even insisted on being homeschooled. But when I turned 15, my parents decided to let me attend regular school. Are you serious? Do you want me to die? I'm allergic to the sun, you know.
I'm fed up with that ninja outfit. After all these years, your condition is probably completely healed by now.
I'd rather jump off a cliff than listen to you.
If you keep behaving this way, I swear I'll send you to your aunt's place in Norway. There's only sunlight there for 6 months.
Gosh, they were unbelievable, and they thought I didn't know about their plan. Fine, but don't think I won't wear this costume to school. I will! It's been years since you last walked in the sun. I can feel the heat slowly getting inside. And when people say you're weirdos for dressing me up like this, just know that you asked for it. I joined school in the 10th grade, and the minute I entered the classroom, everybody started laughing and whispering things like weirdo and freak. I chose the seat farthest from the window and kept my mask on all the time. In lunch break, I waited for everyone to leave the cafeteria before I went in, but suddenly a girl came up and slapped me on the shoulder. It was Jessie.
Luna, right? I'm just curious, why are you dressed like a garbage bag?
I'm ugly. I don't want everyone to laugh at me. She started laughing and just left. I knew that if I said I was allergic to the sun, I would definitely get into trouble. Soon enough, I discovered she was the meanest girl around and would pick on me every chance she got, throwing snakes into my backpack, hiding all the toilet paper when I used the restroom. Another day, I solved a math problem on the board, and as I was returning to my seat, I slipped on some water and fell on the floor.
That's where your place is anyway, weirdo!
I ignored Jessie's stupid pranks, but one day she went too far. I was standing in the shade enjoying a baseball game when suddenly Jessie came out and snatched my mask. I lost my balance and fell off the bleachers. I quickly pulled my hoodie over my face. "You're a crazy freak!" I snapped at Jessie and bit down hard on her hand. Jessie let out a pained scream.
Ah, help! Let me go! You sun-phobic vampire!
And that's how I got my name, Vampire Girl. I could hear people calling me a monster, but I didn't care. At least the bullies were a little scared of me now. A few days later, a new kid joined our class named Luca. His outfit had a bit of a medieval vibe, which made Jessie and her minions laugh uncontrollably when they saw him. They'd found their new target. I joined him in the cafeteria at lunch that day and we started talking. I found out that he was the new janitor's son. He was really sweet and never even said I was crazy when I told him about my condition. I was so happy to have made a friend. But one day, as I was walking down the hallway, I found Jessie and her friends surrounding Luca. She threw the cake on the floor and arrogantly said,
Oops, you can clean this up, Luca. I mean, you'll grow up to be a janitor like your dad, right? Come on, just sit down and wipe it with your butt.
"Hey jerk, stop it! Didn't you promise last time that you wouldn't bully him anymore? Looks like that bite was too gentle, huh? I'll make sure it's way worse this time if you don't get out of here immediately." Jessie rolled her eyes at me, but when I leapt forward, she actually screamed and went running. Luca thanked me, and I always made sure to stick close to him after that. But then, one day, Luca and I had just entered the classroom after recess when Jessie started screaming like crazy.
OMG, my brand new iPhone! It's gone! Someone stole it!
And then she pounced on Luca and grabbed him by his shirt.
You must have done it, you little janitor! You beggar, you thief! Where is it?
Hey, knock it off you! You have no proof!
I'll get the proof, girl!
She snatched his bag and started throwing out all his things. I grabbed her hair and she turned around and attacked me. We got into a huge fight and just then the principal walked in. Jessie screamed, insisting that Luca was the culprit and that he had hidden the loot inside his locker. Of course, the principal found nothing there. However, Luca was left humiliated in front of everyone. He seemed very upset, with his face down on the desk. I caught up with him after school. "Hey Luca, are you okay? Jessie is such a witch. I hate rich people. They always look down on us like we're not even human."
Maybe she called me a thief just because I'm poor. Maybe we don't belong here.
"Luca, wait!" And he just walked away. He didn't come to school the next day and his dad was nowhere to be seen either. A week passed and there was still no sign of them. I felt worried, but I didn't know where he lived. But then I remembered Luca talking about how his dad also worked at a restaurant in the evening, so I decided to go talk to him. As I was walking down the street one night without my mask or hoodie, I saw a masked guy running towards me, and suddenly he started snatching my bag as I tried to get away. I lunged at his face and pulled his mask off, and I nearly fell back in shock. It was Luca. But before I could say anything, he ran away. I couldn't believe my eyes. What's going on? Luca really is a thief. Jessie was right. I felt betrayed. What I didn't expect was that Luca showed up at school 2 days later, but I just ignored him. But when he kept following me and asking me what was wrong, I suddenly lost it. "I'll tell you! The girl you robbed the other night on the street, that was me!" He looked horrified.
You, I didn't know. I've never seen your face.
"Whether it's me or not doesn't matter. The real issue is that you're a liar and a thief. I really made a mistake trusting and fighting for you." Suddenly he started weeping like a baby.
I didn't want to steal. Luna, but I just had no choice. My dad's in the hospital. We needed the money. I'm so sorry, but I swear I didn't steal Jesse's phone. I've never stolen anything until that night.
He kept crying and my heart went out to him.
I'm sorry about your dad. Why didn't you tell me and everyone? Let me help you now, but promise me you'll never steal anything again.
I don't want to bother you. I don't want everyone to see me as poor or suspect me of stealing.
Don't worry about that, Luca. People are better than you think. I immediately went to talk to the school principal. Together, we planned a fundraiser for Luca's dad. Within a day, we raised all the money Luca needed for his dad's treatments and even more. The biggest donors were Jesse's parents. They kept praising me at the fundraiser for arranging the event, and this made Jesse even angrier.
Don't let it get to your head, Luna. You're still a freak and you could never be me.
As if I want to be. What's so special about you anyway, other than being super dumb?
Excuse you. I've been prom queen for the last 2 years. You could never.
Oh, that's cool, but things changed once I got involved.
Haha, seriously, it's prom, not some freak Halloween show. You'll never beat me, stupid vampire.
Luca whispered into my ear.
Don't argue with the girl who hasn't even seen your face!
I bought a beautiful dress for prom since it's tonight. It was the first time anyone in school would be seeing me without my mask and hoodie. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw people turning around and asking each other who I was. Just then Luca came to me and took my arm.
Luna, you're so gorgeous today.
That's Luna, the vampire girl. I can't believe it was that face behind that mask all this time. She's gorgeous.
Jessie looked furious when she saw everyone's attention was on me, and to my shock, I was actually voted as that year's prom queen. As I was being crowned, suddenly Jessie came charging at me on the stage, trying to rip the crown off my head. But then something strange happened. The bullies who used to pick on me saved me. They all stopped Jessie and took her away.
Hey, don't lay a finger on her, old prom queen.
That was amazing. Things at school started getting better. Everyone was super nice to me now. Luca was tutoring kids after school and his dad came back to work. Soon nobody paid any attention to Jessie and her gang anymore, and all they could do was give me death glares. But one day after gym class, I was quickly changing in the dark locker room when suddenly Jessie and her minions barged in. One of them quickly grabbed my hoodie while the others grabbed me by my hands and legs and started carrying me outside.
Stop! Don't do that! Let me go!
The more I screamed, the tighter they held on to me. Soon after, they dragged me out into the sun and pinned me to the ground.
Heck! You lied to me! You're not ugly, so you must be a vampire! I hope you melt and disappear! Haha.
Suddenly, someone pushed the girls away. It was a teacher and Luca. While the teacher dragged the bullies off to the principal, Luca quickly took me inside as I cried like crazy.
You're okay now? And your skin, it looks totally fine. It's not even red. Luna, does it hurt or burn?
I looked all over my arms and realized he was right. There were no rashes and it didn't itch or burn at all. Was my condition gone for good? Or had it just been all in my head? When I went back home that day, my parents were shocked to see me.
Luna, where's your hoodie and your mask?
I threw them all away. Mom, Dad, I was out in the sun and nothing happened to me. Maybe I'm cured. Unexpectedly, my parents hugged me tightly, and what they said next was truly like a bolt from the blue.
Sweetheart, it was all just a lie. You don't have any problem at all.
But the doctor?
The doctor was fake, too. Actually, you were just having a normal reaction to sunlight because you rarely went outside. He said what we wanted him to say to protect you.
Protect? No way! I never believed you guys because you hated me and wanted to get rid of me. You even got rid of my cat.
No, we didn't, sweetheart. It just ran away. And we never hated you. When you were growing up, your mother and I were working as undercover government agents. Our actions and work might have made you feel ignored.
What?
Moreover, we didn't want the enemy to discover our identities. That's why we had you wear a mask and hoodie when going outside.
What? My parents were secret agents. That was the last thing I'd ever expected. But suddenly their weird behavior made sense. I wish you'd told me sooner. I could have kept everything a secret.
Just the two of us enduring was more than enough. We always wanted you to live comfortably and not have to worry. We're sorry, Luna.
We should have been better parents to you. We love you so much.
I love you too, guys.
Hi, I'm Wendy from Sweden, and my story is really crazy. But before I begin, please like and subscribe. I lived in a creepy old house with my parents. It used to belong to my grandma, who was a very odd woman. She studied mysterious races in the world and brought back crates full of strange outfits and creepy items. And most people around thought our house was haunted.
Walk faster, a ghost girl will catch you!
Just then, I leapt out from behind a bush wearing a scary mask. I was just trying to be funny, but people thought I was the weird girl who lived in the scary house, and no one wanted to be my friend. And my parents never had much time for me either because they were always working.
This old house is a money pit. I need to work 2 jobs to keep it.
Please go to your room, Wendy. I'm in a meeting.
I wanted to help out, so I started giving ghost tours of the property. When my parents were away, I loved telling made-up stories about the freaky things I'd seen around the house. I even made up a murder or 2 and sold Mum's dresses with ketchup stains as souvenirs. I made a killing on Halloween, but when Mom and Dad found out, they were furious.
What's wrong with you, Wendy? Why can't you be sweet and well-behaved like other kids?
They took all my money and I was grounded for a month. I was so lonely and wished I had a sibling to play with. Then one day, when I was 12, I got the biggest surprise of my life. I went looking for a snack in the kitchen when I found a thin, pale boy my age instead.
Who are you and what are you doing in our pantry?
I'm Felix, your brother. Didn't your parents tell you they were adopting me?
What the flip? My parents had adopted a whole human and hadn't even bothered to tell me.
Typical!
I don't believe you. What proof do you have?
He waved some official-looking papers in my face. They looked legit.
My parents might have adopted you, but you still need to pass a few tests if you want to be my brother.
Bring it on!
We stood on our heads to see who could do it the longest, ate the worst carrot for lunch. And for the final task, we caught the fattest, slimiest fish and balanced them on our heads while we stood on one leg on the fence. Felix was great at it all.
Congratulations! You are officially my brother!
I was over the moon to finally have someone to play with, but my parents had to ruin that too.
You can't play with Felix anymore.
Why not? Didn't you adopt him so I'd have company? We've decided it isn't a good idea. You can't play with him, and that's that. But why?
Because we said so and we're sending him away.
It was so unfair.
I felt angrier than I'd ever felt before, and I smashed the toy I was playing with into the wall. But suddenly I felt dizzy, and moments later, I blacked out. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed with a bald doctor and my worried-looking parents next to me.
Wendy's blood pressure shot up suddenly and she fainted. She's fine for now, but try to keep her as calm as possible. I'd also suggest you homeschool her for now.
Mom and Dad took me home. They were being very nice to me, which was suspicious. Now they said I could play with Felix as much as I wanted. But when I ran to his room to tell him the good news, he was glaring at me angrily.
What's wrong? Aren't you happy we can be friends again?
Friends? I just found out that your parents did not adopt me because they wanted to love me or give me a nice home. They just brought me here for you, like I'm some kind of toy. And they might just send me away at any time. I hate you, and I'm gonna make your parents hate you too. They'll realize they're better off having me as a kid. Trust me, I'm not going anywhere.
Felix, don't be like that. I've always wanted a brother.
I'm not your brother.
I was both angry and heartbroken by his changed attitude. But I hoped he'd change over time. But it was the complete opposite. Felix kept messing with my parents. He dropped the pearl earrings I borrowed from Mum down the drain, smashed Dad's laptop, and put dye in their body wash. They had shocking pink skin for weeks. And somehow my parents were always upset with me and thought I was acting out. They never seemed convinced when I said it was all Felix. Was he really turning my parents against me?
Stop being a jerk. These things cost money, and Mom and Dad work really hard, and stop making them think I'm doing all this.
Then just give up and go away yourself. There's only space for one of us here.
I'm not going anywhere, pal.
But then, the most terrible thing happened. A few days after my 13th birthday, we were visited by some people from the museum. They wanted to use Grandma's outfits and creepy items for a display, and they said they'd pay us a lot of money if we allowed them to borrow it for a few weeks. Mom and Dad were over the moon that the dirty junk around the house was worth something.
We can buy a new car and replace the laptop Wendy trashed.
We can pay off the mortgage and finally be debt-free.
This could change our lives for the better. But minutes before the people from the museum arrived to collect the things, I heard a huge crash from the basement. I went running to see all the things smashed and broken on the floor, and Felix standing in the middle with a stick!
Oops! I'm so sorry, I was just looking at them.
This time he had gone too far. I slapped him hard!
You did that on purpose, you jerk!
Just then, my parents came running in and looked at the mess in horror, and then they looked at me like I was the crazy one.
Why are you looking at me like I did this? He's ruined everything, and you're still gonna have him around. Why don't you send him away? You want us to send your brother away? You got so upset before. I was wrong about him, okay? He's not my brother. He's crazy, and he's dangerous.
Mom and Dad exchanged a weird long glance and nodded.
Fine. We'll send him to a special facility so he can get better.
That night, I locked my door, but I could still hear Felix screaming and crying in his room. The next day, he was gone. Mum and Dad looked sad and broken. They tried to be nice to me, but I saw right through them. They were sad because Felix had left, and I could never make them happy. In the fall, the doctor said it would be good for me to restart regular high school. Things were going really well on my first day until...
Hey, watch out! It's a ghost girl! I'm so scared!
Dude, grow up!
That wasn't all. In my very first class, I met the most bonkers girl.
I heard you were the ghost girl.
What's it to you?
I'm Tara. I just moved here from Ireland. Is it true your house is haunted? I'd love to meet a real-life ghost. I've dreamed of it my whole life.
Are you nuts? Who has creepy dreams like that?
You haven't read Dead Love Doesn't Die. It's the most romantic book ever. Are there handsome ghosts in your house? Are they single?
Girl, you need help!
No! I need a ghostly boyfriend with ice-cold lips and dreamy eyes who can transport me to his time and give me 1,000,000 ghostly kisses. And he'll
Was
take
there
me
something
away
wrong
to-
with me? First Felix and now Tara? Was I a weirdo magnet? For the next few weeks, she stuck to me like glue. At first, I acted indifferent because I wasn't sure she'd even stick around for too long. But she did. And I slowly started to enjoy having a friend.
Ha! Look, there's Ghost Girl and her vampire girlfriend. What, in the twilight?
Tara hissed and bit the jerk on his arm.
You're absolutely crazy.
Hey, no one messes with my friend. Yuck! He tasted disgusting. Let's go get candy.
How about I make you a sandwich at my place?
You mean it?
Tara instantly fell in love with the place.
This place is fantastic. Can you imagine the paranormal romances that could take place here?
I just laughed and went to the kitchen to get the sandwiches. But there was already someone in there.
Felix, what are you doing here?
I'm back. Of course, Mom and Dad didn't tell you. You would have forced them to keep me away.
It would be for their own good after the mess you made last time. What kind of facility allows home visits?
Ha! I'm not at a facility. They sent me on vacation to Bali to prove how much they loved me and wanted me in the family. I'm back now, and I'll make sure you end up in the facility soon.
I couldn't believe this was happening. I made some excuse and sent Tara home before Felix did something to her. When my parents got home, I confronted them.
You lied to me. He's dangerous and out to get me, but you still allowed him in our home.
Mom started to cry, and Dad glared at me.
You're upsetting your mother, Wendy. How long will this go on?
You don't even care that I'm upset too? You guys are the most selfish parents ever. I'm going to stay at my friend's house because I don't feel safe here.
You can't leave. We should call the doctor. I told you we shouldn't have sent her back to school.
Dad locked me in my room. I could hear Felix laughing under my door. He was evil. I had to get out of here. I called Tara and told her what was up. Within minutes, she was outside my window.
Come on, Ghost Girl. Let's get you to safety.
Tara's house was so normal. It was awesome. She pulled out a mattress for me to sleep in her room, then brushed my hair to calm me down as I told her everything.
Wow, your parents sound like a piece of work. And I finally get why you're so weird about being friends.
I can't trust anyone. My parents ignored me for so long and thought things would be different for me once Felix came. But he's the worst, and ever since he came, my parents treat me like I'm some lunatic. When he's the crazy one, he really scares me.
Don't worry. You're safe here. I'll punch his lights out if he tries to mess with you.
Suddenly, I heard a loud tap on the window and he was standing outside. I screamed and jumped up.
It's him! Felix is here!
He was holding rocks in his hand and wore the evilest grin.
Where? I don't see anything.
Felix threw the first rock. It slammed against the window hard, leaving a deep crack.
Are you blind? He's right there!
Wendy, are you sure you don't, see ghosts or something? Because I can't see anyone.
Didn't you hear the rock hit the window? Look, it's left a crack!
What are you talking about?
What?
Why was Tara suddenly lying to me? Suddenly the door slammed open and my parents were standing there looking worried.
How did you find me? Did you tell them I was here? Tara, I thought you were my friend.
No, Wendy. Tara didn't tell us. We saw you sneaking out of the house and followed you. Let's go home.
No, you're just going to lock me up in my room again. What's going on? Tara says she can't see Felix. Is she lying or am I crazy?
The saddest look crossed my mom's face, and she broke down crying and hugged me.
No, Wendy, you're not crazy.
That's when they told me how they'd never adopted a boy named Felix.
We thought he was just a harmless, imaginary friend. But when you started seeing him all the time, we tried to stop it by saying we'd send him away.
The doctor said you had created Felix to help with your feelings of being alone, and we should play along, so we agreed. But then you started acting out and blaming it on Felix.
We were so glad when you finally sent him away yourself. We thought things were going to be okay now. But then you said you saw him again, and we
just can't see you like this, sweetie, and it's all our fault. We should have given you more time when you were a kid.
I was in utter shock.
So everything Felix did, the earrings, the laptop, the items.
It was all you, but we weren't mad about any of it. We were just worried about you.
But if Felix was the friend I made up, why was he suddenly so mean to me?
Your doctor said you suffered from low self-esteem. In your mind, no one wants to be friends with you for long.
Are you real? Can you guys see Tara?
I could pinch you!
Ouch. Okay, you're real.
Don't worry, dear. We talked to your doctor, and he says we can start therapy sessions now. You'll be fine.
And we'll be with you all the way.
Me too!
They all took me in a big bear hug, and suddenly I didn't feel alone at all.